Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sunny Side. I'm Sunny, and today I'm going to tell you guys all about Mars in Cancer. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Just to let you guys know, I am a professional astrologer. I do write the horoscopes for some of the newspapers up here in Canada. If you want a personal reading, just check it out in the description box below. Alright, for those who are new to the channel, I'm just going to let you know how these videos work. Um, so the videos are in three parts. First, I'm going to give you a little blah 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 about what's coming up on the channel, what's going on here, and how to help support the channel. By the way, please give the video a bloop, thumbs up, and maybe subscribe to the channel. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. Then I'm going to give you my 2 cents on Mars in Cancer. And you know, everyone has their different opinion about it. And as someone who writes horoscopes, I might have a different way of looking at it than someone who's like, hey, tell me about myself. What the hell, man? And so something like that. And after that, the third part of the video, I'm going to read to you guys what some more noteworthy astrologers, what they say about Mars in Cancer, and I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it. Now, take it all with a grain of salt, just to let you go, and I'm going to tell you guys what I think. When you write a lot of horoscopes, when you spend a lot of time doing this kind of thing, and when you're a professional horoscope writer, or if you write books or stuff, you're always looking for new and creative ways to express the different energies and the outcomes and, you know, the realities and the inputs and influences of different astrological placements. And as such, you know, we get a little bit creative sometimes, and there's generally three parts to what's going on. There's the house, the sign, and the planet or the celestial body. And although there's some similarities, they're not exactly the same. And oftentimes when you're writing a lot, it's easy to mix them up. And so, and as such, I'm going to dispel some of the myths here today as we go along. So once again, this video is all about Mars in Cancer. So whether there's a transit that's happening in your chart, or whether you have Mars in Cancer in your natal chart, this is all about you. And welcome to the channel. Okay, all right, next, if you want a personal reading, just check it out in the description box, how to do something like that, how to get a personal reading for me. In addition to that, there's lots of stuff happening on the channel. Again, it's a video, so fast forward if you want to get to some of the other stuff. Alright, so what else is going on the channel? For those who don't know, I have tons and tons and tons of live streams here on the channel. Every morning, I read your horoscopes, and we do some mini astrology readings as well. And at night, I read your tarot cards. And that's the action. So if you want to see what's going on, by all means, please drop by the channel. If you drop by, please say what's up. Next, here we go. Time to cruise in on some of the action here. So what's going on the sunny side these days, Sonny? That's a good question. Let's cruise on over here. For those who are new to the channel, this is our store here. It's called theastroside.com. And oh, we also have a Facebook group. It's in the description box. You guys will see lots of stuff down there. And anyways, theastroside.com, my super beautiful and amazing wife designed all these hoodies and leggings and t-shirts and wicked cups and mugs for you guys. And I have a couple of these, actually. I really like these ones, the Sunnyside mugs. And it's all available on the astroside.com. Let's see if anything comes up here. Check it out. So today's about Cancer. How would you like to be a Cancer walking around in this awesome, badass hoodie? Look at this. Imagine going to yoga like this. Look at this. Mars in Cancer. Fiery crab. Yeah, what's up, Sonny? What's going on? Or look at this. How'd you like to go to yoga in this hoodie here? Which would be the awesomest crab on the planet. Anyways, there's lots of stuff. We have mugs and different t-shirts. There are fun shirts there. This is our Cancer mug. Check it out before we move on. We have the... Anyways, there's Cancer on the front, and on the back we have the constellation. Personally, I think it's really cool. And she did an amazing job. So once again, that's the astroside.com. And that's the action. Alright, let's get to the... So that's what you do. So that's... This video's... These channels sponsored by the Astroside. Alright, next, let's cruise on. Let's get to it. Alright, so for those who are new to the astrology or new to the channel, or maybe you were born yesterday, I don't know. So this is what's going on here. This is what an astrology chart looks like. And let's move it forward. We'll put Aries on the ascendant so that it's easy for everyone to figure out what's going on here. So Aries is here, and Cancer is way down here, nice and purple. Cancer is ruled by the moon. And just to show you guys how the colors in this particular chart work, you can have any color that you want on a wheel, right? It's not like it's not written in stone. It's not even written in the stars, player. But here we go. At the bottom of the chart, we have Cancer on one side and Leo on the other. And it sort of fans out like a chessboard. Let's put this a little up here so it's better. So we have Cancer on one side, Leo on the other, and it fans out once again like a chessboard. And we have Cancer is ruled by the moon, Leo is ruled by the sun. You know, nurturing, you know, different types of nurturing aspects within the zodiac. And it fans out from there. Then we have yellow and yellow. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Then Venus, Taurus is ruled by Venus, Libra is ruled by Venus. Aries is ruled by Mars, and at one time, the original ruler of Scorpio was Mars. And then we had Pisces was ruled by Jupiter, and Sagittarius was originally ruled by Jupiter as well. Pisces was originally ruled by Jupiter. It's now ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. And, you know, it's different ways of looking at it. When we did those videos, the Pisces videos, I explained that a little bit more. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and way at the top, we have both of these two signs. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Aquarius at one time was ruled by Saturn, and it's currently ruled by Uranus. And anyways, go ahead, check out those videos. Check out Venus in Aquarius, or Mars in Aquarius if you want to learn more about that, or the moon in any one of the signs. Anyways, they're all in the description box. They're not, none of them are in the description box. They're all in the channel somewhere in different playlists. And once again, by all means, check it out. And if you have any questions, drop by the live stream and say hi. All right, so here we go. So that's how it works. Today, so once again, there are three parts to what we're talking about here. There's the Mars, which just happens to be over here today. So let's just imagine Mars down here without like freaking everything out. And then we have, so there's Mars energy, which then there's the fourth house energy, and then there's Cancer energy. And although there are some similarities, they're not the same. So quite often when astrologers, and you'll hear a lot of this later on in the video when we talk about it, you'll hear astrologers say things like family, you'll hear things like home, family, blah, 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 and that's actually the fourth house kind of stuff. If Cancer was over here in this part of the zodiac, let's change the time of day. If Cancer, so Cancer is a super nurturing sign. And Mars is the planet of aggression and sometimes conflict. And it was ruled by, Mars is like, represents the god of war, right? And it's not like a Buddhist war. It's not like Buddha is going to come and meditate your ass to death. Like, let's go have a meditation sit-in and like, let's have a war. Like, a contemplative war. It's not that kind of war. It's like the god of war, man. It's like, hey, let's go. Anyways, whatever. So Mars doesn't necessarily really jive with the whole nurturing vibe of Cancer. But anyways, let me just show you some other things here. So as we're going along, because Cancer rules the fourth house, there are a lot of associations and similarities, but it's not exactly the same. And so the fourth house really is your home. It's the bottom of the zodiac. The top here is your outer place in the world. This is your career. This is you going down to the mall and saying, hey, player, what's up? This is you being outside and out in the world. This area over here, the ninth house, is traveling and long distance kind of stuff. It's also higher learning and education. And the 10th house is very public. And down here, on the private side, the fourth house is your home. It's your parents. It depends how you look at it. In some types of astrology, let's just say it's your parents today. Or let's just say it's your mother because it's ruled by the moon. And then this is the part that grounds you. This is your home. As a result, people say Cancers tend to be homebodies. Yes and no. Anyways, as we cruise it along, if we change it, it's very easy to switch it around like this and put Cancer here. If you're born with their sun sign here, if you're Gemini rising and you're Cancer and your sun is in the second house, then you're not necessarily going to be a homebody. You're going to be focused on your finances, on money. Second house is your money. It's your stuff. If you were born at a different time of day, let's cruise it around here. If it was the fifth house, you'd be all about your kids. If it was Cancer was way over here, then it would be all about, you'd be all about your partner. The 7th house is relationships. If it's over here in your 8th house, would be, you'd be like the horniest crab on the you'd be a super horny crab. Seriously. And like, this is your 8th house of sexuality. And so it's all a little bit different. So as I said, the houses, so Cancer in the 4th house, which a lot of people are going to talk about, have many similarities. But depending on what's going on in your life and the zodiac, you know, how your particular and personal chart lines up, it may or may not have anything to do with anything. So be very careful when you're looking at your personal horoscopes and say, hey, Sonny, you know, I'm a Cancer, right? But like, nothing about the horoscope says nothing. It don't mean nothing to me. Like, oh yeah, well, first you could be from a different universe or a different planet. That's always possible. But more than likely, it's just, it just needs to be calibrated and interpreted. And that's what I'm here for. That's what you need a professional to do it for. And that's it. The charts are fairly easy to read. You just have to know which chart to look at, how to look at the chart, and how to interpret it. And it's pretty easy. All right, Sonny, I get it. Who gives a shit? Just tell us about effing Mars and Cancer. Tell me about me. Tell me about me. All right, relax. Shit. I don't know. My Mars is not in Cancer. I don't really give a shit. So, anyways, here we go. Mars in Cancer is like this. Mars, okay, let me slide this over so I can see a little better. Mars is very aggressive. Again, it's the god of war. Mars likes to mix things up. The way the planets work like this. Venus is rapport. It's how you attract love, and it's how you give off love to others. So if you have your Venus in Sagittarius, you attract people who are optimistic. Sagittarius is an easy one. You attract optimistic people. You attract people who like to, you know, a little loose in the zipper, let's just say. You attract people who, and as a result, you like to be optimistic with people. And Sagittarius, you know, if you have your Venus in Sagittarius, you're going to want to make someone laugh. You're going to be optimistic about it. So if someone falls down, and so let me say this again. If someone has their Venus in Sagittarius, let's say, and someone falls down, you're going to say, come on, get up, you can do it. You know, you're going to be optimistic about it, and you're going to crack a joke. Oh, everybody falls down, whatever. Oh, you ripped your pants. You'll make a joke about it. If Venus is in, like, Cancer, you're going to be very nurturing about it. Cancer is the sign of mothering. Cancer is the mother of the zodiac. This is why Cancers have so many pets. If you ever look around, Cancers have pets and plants. Cancers are the mothers of the zodiac. It's ruled by the moon. And so, if Venus, first we're talking about Venus here, right? So Venus is how you want people to love you and how you want to give off affection to others. So if you have your Venus in Cancer, you want people to mother you. You want to be nurtured. You want to be like romantic, very soft-handed gloves. Now, if someone were to fall down, you would pick them up and say, you would dust them off, you'd give them a hug. You know, Venus in Cancer is very huggy. It's very mothering. And so you like to receive love like that, and you like to give love like that. If Venus, as another example, Venus is in, say, Aries. Aries is a very competitive sign. If your Venus is in Aries, and it's also about love, right? Mars and Venus, we're going to talk about, a lot of these guys are going to talk about love and relationships here. This is kind of obvious, right? It's the type of video that's going on here. So, with Venus in Aries, you're going to have a very competitive approach to love, healing, relationships, and, you know, in general, how you want to make other people feel. So if your Venus is in Aries, or if you have a strong Aries signature in your chart, you need someone to push up against. You know, Aries like to push, and if there's nothing there, it's like, what the hell? Aries can't test themselves, and they become not awash. They become lost. There's nothing for them to push against. They need a little bit of resistance in the world to know themselves. You know, we say it all the time. You know yourselves as reflected in the world around you. That's what Venus is. You know yourself reflected in the world around you. So Aries is push, 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 push. They're always butting heads. But that's what they need. They need, yourself like that. And so, in addition to all of that, so if you fall down, Aries is going to challenge you to get up. Come on, you can do it. Get up. You can do it. Get going. You can win. Go win. And so that's the Venus thing. So that's Venus. That's one of the ways of rapport. Mars, on the other hand, is the god of war. So wherever Mars is, that's a lot of active energy. It's one of your planets of sexuality. Pluto's a planet of having sex. Mars is going after it. And so, so going after sex, it's a lusty kind of, primal kind of desire. Once again, Pluto is a transformative spiritual aspect of sex, so to speak, and or getting down, but Mars is like ground and pound, is down and dirty. It's Aries unite. It's like, hey, I got other things to do tonight too. And so that's the action with Mars. And so if someone crosses you, okay, so Mars is a lot of energy. Venus is rapport. It's how you react. It's how you behave when you want someone to, feel nice. However nice is in your zodiac sign, however you want to, to feel nice, to feel Venus energy. But, beauty, love, grace, harmony. Mars is what you do when you want to mess somebody up. And it's all a little bit different. It's also what triggers you. So Mars is what triggers you, and the sign is how you're triggered and what you do when you're triggered. So like Mars in Pisces, Pisces likes to heal people. So if Mars in Pisces sees a wound, if they see someone being hurt, they're going to be quick to step in. Mars, quick to step in. Mars is very fast and very aggressive. So I'll explain that again, because we're going to get to Cancer, and a lot of people don't understand how Mars works in Cancer. Oh, my Mars is in Cancer, that's why I'm blah, blah. No, don't say that. I hear that like every single day. That's not what it works. You're like that because you have like shitty parents. That's the real reason. You're like that because you're self-indulgent. You're like that because you're looking for an excuse to whine your ass off. You're looking for a pity party. Don't blame it on astrology. So, Mars in Pisces. Now, Pisces is a natural healer of the zodiac. They stick up and they like to heal people. Mars in there sticks up for the underdog. So if they see an injustice or an imbalance, Mars is going to rush right in, and regardless of if they're right or wrong, okay, so it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong, Mars is going to step in and say, hey, play, what's up? And they go, ah. And so that's the action. And now if there is not an injustice there, Mars and Pisces can get a little lazy because Pisces is, it's mutable water. Blah. And so that's the action. So what does that mean when we cruise over to Mars in Cancer? Because that's what the video is all about today. So Cancer is a super nurturing sign, and Mars is a little aggressive and competitive. So Mars is going to get in there. So if something happens, so Cancer is the sign of nurturing. It's the sign of mothering. So what do you think is going to happen when the most aggressive planet, like aggressive, it's your active energy. Mars is where you're, putting your energy. Venus is how you're receiving your energy. So what are you going to do? What do you think is going to happen when Mars is added to motherhood? Do you think it's going to be a mother who yells and screams at her kids? Maybe. Maybe. Just maybe. With Mars in Cancer, you're going to have someone. So first off, let's look at it on the nice side. It's going to add a lot of energy to Cancer. You're going to want to nurture people in a very aggressive way. You're going to add a lot of, first, let's back this up. Cancer is a cardinal sign. They're very aggressive. They don't seem like it because they're the crab, right? They're always moving sideways. They're doing a little crabby dance. But the truth is, Cancer is an aggressive sign. When they see an opening, they will go for it. They will create opportunities. They do it differently, right? They're not like Aries in your face. They're not Libra where they're like, go behind your back. They're not Capricorn where they're aloof, And Cancer creates a space. It's water, right? So Cancer creates a space for you to do your thing. and they create all this, the wave. Imagine Cancer is a wave, and the boat just sits there. Okay, you're the boat. You're just sitting there, and Cancer is going to nurture you and nurture you and nurture you, and then just push your boat in that direction. And that's how Cancer does it. Libra will take care of you behind the scenes, or they'll wait for you. Libra and Cancer are both kind of passive. They're not, don't take it with a grain of salt because they're not necessarily the words I'm going to use. But Libras, traditionally and stereotypically, they tend to be indecisive, so they're waiting for you to make your move, right? Libra will give you a chance to succeed. They'll give you a chance to fail. Cancer's waiting for the opportunity for you to, so you can get your ship going, man. And that's the deal. Cancer is the wave. And that's what the deal. And if you don't get your action going, say you're a wuss and you're a slowpoke and you have no game and you're like, you're a little small in the testicle, let's just say. Cancer is going to give you the snip and drag your ass down with them. So like they're going to drag you along. And you don't want your crab dragging you all over the place, because the crab's going to get tired of it. They nurture you. They're there. They're the mothers of the zodiac. So let's get back to it again. So Mars in Cancer is going to put a lot of action into mothering you. These guys are going to go overboard. They're going to cook your socks. They're going to warm your socks in wintertime. They're going to warm your mittens. They can be romantic. They'll put hearts on your lunch. They'll do the whole thing. They'll do everything to take care of you. But on the other hand, it's Mars in Cancer. This is the dark side of things. So it can get a little aggressive. It can get a little spooky. When Mars in Cancer goes bad, it goes bad. These guys, possessive, clingy, stalkerish, they will absolutely fuck you up. Right in front of your face and behind the scenes. They will they're like, you don't want to mess with Cancers. A lot of people think Cancers are wussies and soft signs, but that's just not true. So, and I'll explain it using the tarot in a second. But moving forward, just another couple of minutes on my 2 cents of Mars and Cancer. Mars and Cancer. So imagine the concept of motherhood on overdrive, and if you mess it up, they're going to get very, very aggressive, majorly passive aggressive, extremely moody, and they're not going to forgive you, and they will mess you up. Okay, you've been warned. Next, all right. So that's my two snakes. This is my 2 shakes on Mars in Cancer. It's very aggressive nurturing. It's very aggressive mothering. It can be tough love kind of ways of looking at things. Now let's look at what the tarot says. Now for those who think that Cancer is a wussy sign, I'll show you what card it is in the tarot. Cancer is represented by the Chariot card. This card right here. Now the Chariot, the story of tarot works like this. Tarot goes really quickly. We have the Empress, which is the most nurturing card in the deck. This is Venus energy. And then we have the Emperor, which is Aries energy. And Tarot visits Mom and Dad, the Empress and the Emperor. You guys got that? Tarot visits Mom and Dad, and then they send him off to school, which is what the hell? Oh, I messed it up. The Empress and the Emperor. This is Mom and Dad. Tarot meets Mom and Dad, and then they send him off to school, which is the Hierophant. And the Hierophant means a teacher is on the way. So Tarot goes to school, then Tarot finishes school. Okay, so when Tarot's done school, he's finished school, he meets a girl. Or whatever. This is a rainbow-friendly channel, so he meets someone. And in the Lover's card, okay, everybody with me? And this is Gemini energy. So right before Cancer comes Gemini, and it's the Lover's card. It means someone's going to come along to change your mind. It's a union of ideas. It's, someone coming along to change your mind. So Tarot finishes school, then he meets someone who changes his life, and he changes his direction in life. and then he meets the Chariot. This card means, usually in this card, there's some kind of ornate structure in the background, which means he's finished school, right? His final project is very ornate. And then he gets on the Chariot. And I'm explaining this card to you guys because there are a lot of stereotypes about Cancer, just because they are an expressive and emotionally expressive sign that, you know, they've created a stereotype around themselves, which is not which doesn't really ring true with their true inner nature. And it's a major, I'm telling you this because it's a warning. We're talking about Mars here, and Mars can be very aggressive, very hard, and not what you would have expected from Cancer. So be very careful. So, now this card is one of the cards of personal empowerment. What happens is Tarot is running around, he's doing his thing, he's left school, and this card means it's time to get out and see the world. Now, Cancer is supposed to be a homebody because the 4th house is your home. But I'm telling you, depending on where Cancer and Mars in Cancer is in your zodiac, it could mean you travel a lot. It could mean you work a lot. It could mean anything. Hang out with your friends. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a homebody, although you will probably be very nurturing, and you will treat everybody like you're the mother of the zodiac. I'll say it again. If Mars in Cancer was in the 4th house, you'd probably spend a lot of time trying to mother all of your friends. If it was Mars in Cancer in the 10th house, you might work in human resources. Just saying. Okay, now here's the deal with this card. This is one of the first cards of the deck in personal empowerment. Tarot's cruising along and he's confused. He doesn't know what to do. He leaves school, he meets his girl, he's like, what am I going to do? People are pushing him around. He's young, he's new to the world, he has all this education, and he just doesn't know what to do. And he meets a charioteer and he says, hey charioteer, what do you do when everybody's pushing you around? You know, the world is pushing me, because it's Cancer, right? It's just Cancer. Wait, charioteer, why everybody's pushing me around? I don't know what to do. I went to school, I've got this cool chick, the world is my oyster, you know, I've got all these cool claws, and I've got this, you know, nice rosy glow, I've got all these legs, what am I supposed to do? I've got this tough, you know, what's going on? And the charioteer, because that's what we expect from Cancer, right? And the charioteer turns to he turns to Tarot and he says, look at this. You've got the armor. You know, you're a crab. You've got a shell. You're wearing armor. You're one of the only signs of the zodiac wearing armor. Who else in the zodiac is wearing armor here? Cancer's wearing armor right here. Scorpio has a little bit of armor, but Scorpio, so you could just step on a scorpion, right? Crab has armor. Who else? That's it. They're the only sign in the zodiac with armor. And they're carrying, you know, the claws. They can fight back. You know, who has weapons in the zodiac? The Taurus has the horns. Aries has horns. Who else has a weapon? Sagittarius is carrying a weapon. Wherever Sagittarius is here, Sagi's carrying a weapon. I guess Sagi's over there. You know, the archer, right? That's a weapon. And Scorpio has a weapon. You know, anyways, he says, Tarot, don't let anybody mess with you. You know, get out and run them over in your chariot. That's what he says. And that's a lesson. That's Mars in Cancer. Mars in Cancer wants to nurture you. They want to mother you. They want to take care of you. But if you slip sideways, they're going to run your ass right into the ground. So heads up. All right, next. Oh, well, that's my two takes on Mars in Cancer. All right, here we go. Next, let's see what some of the notable astrologers say about Mars in Cancer. And then they say some interesting things here. Donna Van Toen says, the fighting side of Mars is subdued here. But I just told you guys, there's a yes and a no. A little bit yeah, a little bit no. Anyway, she says the fighting side of Mars is subdued here. You fight openly only when forced to do so. Ah, that's a really good interpretation. Remember, Cancer is a sign without vocal cords. Cancer is a highly emotionally expressive sign, but they're the worst, you know, they're one of the worst signs of the zodiac about verbally expressing themselves. Okay, here you go. You fight openly only when forced to do so. You prefer to use guilt to keep things under control, or you'll sidle into things on the defensive, wondering if you'll be able to take the heat or to be driven out of the kitchen by more assertive bodies. All right. Now, Donna Van Warren calls this the mark of the worrywart, kind of like a moon in Virgo kind of thing. Anyways, sometimes this position of Mars indicates difficulties in the involved house because Mars here is in its fall and therefore hard to channel constructively, right? Mars is aggressive, Cancer is nurturing, and it doesn't always work. Other times, since Cancer is associated with home and family, it can attract a great deal of domestic discord. Once again, it depends on where it falls in the chart. Next, Mars in Cancer tends to have a somewhat uneven or erratic sexual quality. People with this placement can go for lengthy periods when they have little or no interest in sex. These periods are interspersed with other periods of extremely sensuous, amorous, and occasionally even promiscuous behavior. Sometimes there are bouts of impotence or other sexual problems. However, if you're sure you're loved, you're liable to both be refined and faithful, even if you're not in the mood for sexual frolics. There's some interesting stuff that these guys say about Cancer and sexuality here. So let's keep moving on. It says you want an emotional mate who likes to touch and be touched. The chances are good that you also want a family. You can be clinging and smother. You can be clingy and smother your partner a lot if you're not careful. Remember, it's Cancer on overdrive. Your intentions are good. You want to protect, provide for, and take care of the other person so that their needs will be fulfilled. Again, super nurturing, sexually way over the top, sexually both directions. Cancer can be a very extreme sign. Next, Jan Spiller and Karen McCoy say, you have a tendency to alienate others by competing with them for fulfillment of emotional needs. All right? Does this make sense? You may aggressively demand attention and assume that the needs of others are a threat to your security. When others don't give you the support and attention you think you need, you can lose energy by using the Cancerian emotional touchiness to reject them. All right, you guys got that? Mars in Cancer, extra touchy, extra moody. That should be obvious. Babs Kirby and Jamie Stubbs, they say, someone with Mars in Cancer is going to move cautiously whenever failure and rejection are a possibility. Well, that's a little bit of a stereotype. Like the crab, these people will approach their objectives sideways on. They will act carefully and pay attention to what kind of responses they are eliciting. Oh, Cancer is a highly, highly, highly intuitive sign. In relationships, someone with Mars in Cancer will not want to risk rejection and will often not make a move unless sure of being accepted. These people will use their sensitivity to the nonverbal signals to gauge how safe it is before risking refusal. However, Cancer is a cardinal sign, right? Remember that? They're a cardinal sign. So despite their self-protectiveness, Mars and Cancer people will initiate. Remember, they're a cardinal sign. When they feel emotionally secure, either because whatever, forget about it. This is true. Cancers need to feel emotionally secure, but I'm a double Scorpion. I think it's a little bit bullshit, but it's true. It's true. But we all know that Cancers are a very curious sign as well. The water signs tend to be curious, and they can be somewhat damned if they do, damned if they don't. Anyways, I'll read it again. When they feel emotionally secure, either because the external situation is non-threatening or from an inner security established within themselves, then Mars and Cancer people can act passionately and powerfully. Cancers have trust issues. Mars and Cancer highlights Cancer's natural trust issues. This is a sexually passionate placement with deep and intense needs for emotional safety within a relationship. Yes, yes, and yes. People with Mars in Cancer are particularly likely to want sexual contact to reassure them that they are wanted, although their need to be wanted extends beyond the sexual and will permeate their entire life. They may try to make themselves indispensable to others so that they will never be abandoned. This is all true. This is Cancer 101. If anyone ever wanted to know about Cancer, this is Babs Kirby and Janie Stubbs have all wrapped up right here. It's a bit of a stereotype, but at the same time, this is the deal. Cancers do not want to be hurt emotionally. They're slow to give themselves over. They love very deeply. They feel very passionately. And Mars in Cancer wants to nurture you in a Mars kind of way, which is sexually. Now, next, and Cancers very much try to make themselves indispensable by doing so much for you. In sexual relationships, they need to feel that they belong, to feel protected and secure, and will in turn offer a sense of protection and containment to their partner. Those claws don't let go fast, guys, just saying. Mars in Cancer will often mother their partner and want mothering themselves. They enjoy taking care of others, both physically and emotional. They're likely to be gentle, kindly, and sympathetic. These people are likely to be possessive, extremely possessive, and super, extremely double possessive, and to expect, again, those claws don't let go, and they expect their partner to be completely faithful, although they will not necessarily apply the same standard to themselves. So be very careful when you're hanging out with people with lots of Cancer energy. Next, Marcia Moore and Mark Douglas, they say, circumstances demand defensive action. The symbol, a settler buys a gun in order to protect the home. Makes sense? A settler buys a gun, Aries, in order to protect his home. Cancer. Mars in Cancer directs the full force of the feeling nature into the struggle to acquire an estate and to guard that which has been obtained. All right, the wording in this is a little funky, but it's a little dry, but at the same time, well, it's a little overly ornate, but I kept it in here because they said some interesting things. A soldier's place is not normally in the home. Okay? Mars, not usually in the home. Therefore, aggressive Mars is in its fall in the domestic sign of Cancer, where militancy is distressingly out of place. You want harmony at home, not fighting at home. But you could be aggressive in real estate, and keep that in mind. Although the fire of Mars and the water of Cancer are more apt to boil than blend, you can have potent effects. The suppressed emotionalism of fire-water combinations may result of smoldering irritation followed by sudden outbursts of temper or letting off steam. In other words, people with Mars in Cancer will hold it in, hold it in, hold it in. They'll cry, and then they'll freak the fuck out. So you got to watch out. When positively directed, the pent-up feelings can be channeled into passionate dedication to a cause, nurturing, their mothering. They dedicate to a cause. Often such an individual is driven to sublimate the ferment of feelings which vie for control of the native, blah, 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 blah. You know, come back to some simple English. Next, Venus in Cancer can be smug in its reliance on traditional values. Venus in Cancer is very traditional. By contrast, Mars in Cancer, these guys churn up obscure problems, okay? Particularly on the home front. Mars stirs the pot, and Venus can be lazy. Mars is active energy. Mars stirs up stuff at the home, for better or worse. For better or worse, look at it like this. Venus is nice and chill. Mars is active. So very active, super nurturing crap. Does lots of different stuff. Excessive tension is liable to create internal distress in the form of nervousness and digestive upsets. You guys hear that? Women with this placement often undergo abdominal operations. Men are oppressed by possessive mothers. Babies have difficulty retaining their food. Unconscious resentments lead to a dependence on cigarettes, alcohol, or drugs, which wreak destruction upon the cells of the body in socially acceptable ways. Addictive tendencies may be triggered by the use of artificial stimulants to counteract a sense of physical depletion. Everybody got that? Mars in Cancer can stress you out. Mars in Cancer will affect the stomach and will affect the breast. Although this position gives strong domestic inclinations, the nesting instinct is often thwarted by sudden enforced changes of residency, political upheavals, or uncontrollable circumstances. Almost invariably, some frustrations of Mars will upset the harmony of the home. Once again, he's talking about the fourth house here, not necessarily Cancer. Just expect some, wherever Mars falls in your chart, you can expect a little bit of cacophony, so to speak. Since Mars is the go-getter as well as the goad to action, it frequently provides a clue to a person's profession. In Cancer, it inclines towards occupation connected with the sea, food, housing, or children. The strenuous work involved in running a busy home, institution, hotel, or restaurant is a characteristic of this configuration. Next, Jeff Green. I chopped out a whole bunch of this stuff. He went on and on and on and on, but he had some good things to say as well. Jeff Green says, the Mars in Cancer person, well, there was a lot of stereotypes about Mars in Cancer, and I didn't want to just get, because it's not, nothing in the zodiac is good, nothing in the zodiac's bad, it's just the way it is. Anyways, he says, the Mars in Cancer person will exhibit a deep fear of sexual vulnerability, which is so true. Cancers don't want to feel emotionally vulnerable. Mars is a sexual planet, sexually vulnerable. Anyways, it mirrors the fear of emotional vulnerability. Once again, Cancers have trust issues. The emotional and psychological compensation for these fears is to create situations which the Mars in Cancer person attempts to totally control his or her emotional and sexual life. Everybody got that? As a result, Mars in Cancer can be very sexually and emotionally possessive, domineering, and irrationally jealous. Cancers can be irrationally jealous. Hypocritically, these people can demand that their partner be absolutely faithful, while at the same time giving themselves the right to have sex with someone else. Cancers are the mothers of the zodiac. Like I said, Aquarians like to date their friends. Aquarians have a lot of friends. Saggies like to go out into the world. The world is a big place. Cancers, they're the mothers of the zodiac. Next, the sexual energy and needs are directly linked with their existing emotional dynamics. Because the emotional dynamics can be so complex in the Mars in Cancer person, the nature of his or her sexual dynamics will be just as complex. Keep, heads up. For some who have Mars in Cancer, various forms of sexual violence or dominance can manifest because of their unresolved anger. Everybody got that? In women, this can manifest as psychologically, emotionally, and sexually castrating the man in some way. And in men, it can manifest as sexual power over women. Such men use women as sexual objects in order to build up an otherwise weak self-image. Some will remain sexually arrested or immature, which will also cause various forms of sexual dysfunction. Sexual distortions can be focused on children or on people who are very much younger or older. Mars in Cancer, watch out. Once the Mars in Cancer person realizes the evolutionary intention of inner security, his or her emotional and sexual orientation to life will change. Instead of being controlling, domineering, and possessive, he or she will become supportive and nurturing and display the incredible emotional empathy that can truly heal the emotions of others. He or she will reflect the deep emotional wisdom that's often offered in a non-manipulative way. Alright. Well, that's the deal, As their lives evolve, these individuals must embrace the Capricorn polarity. Just like Scorpio has to chill the fuck out every once in a while and be like Taurus, nice and peaceful, easy breezy like Taurus, and Taurus every once in a while has got to get up off their ass and do something like Scorpio. They, every once in a while Taurus has got to cuss somebody out. Cancers, every once in a while, they need to embrace their Capricorn polarity as well. Essentially, this will mean learning how to accept responsibility in their own actions and to become totally self-determined, to become emotionally and sexually mature. Capricorn, mature. And to access the things that for the various emotional states. Anyways, it just means Cancers have to take a chill, look deep within themselves, and they just got to make peace with all the bullshit that they went through. Cancers they feel a lot of bullshit, right? They want to take care of you, and Cancers have trust issues because like some of the other water signs, they're very emotionally involved in the situation. All right, Mars in Cancer. This is from Good Golly Astrology. I like these guys. Mars in Cancer. They call him the homebody. Okay, next, Mars in Cancer, the homebody. The sensual life and the emotional life are totally intertwined for Mars in Cancer lover. This doesn't mean that it's impossible for these lovers to have sex without emotional commitment. It just means that it's impossible for a lover of this type to have sex without an emotional price. Even the most casual flirtations has a way of getting sloppy and out of control for these guys. Their feelings are always on the line no matter how much they try and deny it. They are easily wounded. For this reason, Mars and Cancer lovers tend to be happier when they're conservative in their sex lives. Unfortunately, the intensity of their sexual feelings, both on a physical and an emotional level, often makes it difficult for them to be conservative enough. Plus, they're curious, just to let you know. Here, sex is always linked with security. These lovers want love to feel like home, all cozy and warm, and what they seek from sex has more to do with comfort than it does passion. It's nurturing, right? It's smothering, just to let you know. If these folks pursued these wholesome goals in a direct and rational way, then they would always find themselves in happy, rewarding relationships. Unfortunately, they don't. Anybody who knows crab energy knows that that's not how it works. In fact, for Mars and Cancer lover, directness and rationality are almost always out of the question. Remember, Mars is direct, Cancer is the most indirect sign of the zodiac. Their intense emotion causes the Mars and Cancer lover to veer is all sorts of it causes all sorts of contradictory directions. In some instances, they can become obsessively promiscuous. Vainly, that means loosen the zipper. Vainly searching, that means like, vainly searching for emotional sustenance in the transitory passion of physical sex. At other times, they can become unreasonably demanding, driving people away with their incessant desire for emotional reassurance. They can be passive. They can be passive and dependent in the relationships if they want to disappear in the union, but they can also be overly protective and passive-aggressive, hovering over their beloved like the proverbial mother hen. Even in the best of circumstances, these lovers are susceptible to periods of self-pity and unrealistic thinking. And it was also brought to me, I was told that there's the greatest number of the most prominent sign for sex trade workers, for people who work in the sex industry, are Cancers. So just letting you know. And yet, for all their whining and emotional volatility, and they're definitely emotionally volatile, there's a toughness about these Mars and Cancer's lover that typically sees them through the most difficult and romantic situations. Yeah, they're crabs. They're wearing armor. They're tough. They ride the chariot. Perhaps the very sensitivity that makes them so vulnerable also gives them this inner resiliency. Or perhaps it's just that their need for love is so great that it inspires within them a special kind of tenacity. They're the crabs. Once again, those pinchers hold on tight and they'll drag you down, or they'll drag you into the water. In any case, these people are emotional survivors who never give up in love. Next, change is an essential element in the sex lives of Mars and Cancer. Love is a process for them, and they get nervous when it becomes static. So you got to mix it up. If you have a Mars and Cancer lover, you got to mix it up. These lovers never stop tinkering, even when they're lucky enough to find the emotional, secure, and physically rewarding relationships they need. They like to test their partners, rearrange the rules of the relationships, and otherwise upset the emotional status quo. Cancers will always and constantly test your ass, so be prepared for it. This restlessness conflicts sharply with the needs these lovers have for security and commitment, but such rational observations are not likely to impress them. They will always follow their feelings, even when doing so takes them to the edge of disaster. They're just testing you. And so just keep in mind, Cancers will constantly test you. All right, here we go. Celebrity examples of Mars in Cancer. Okay, here we go. Examples of the homebody include people whose sex appeal can only be called upon, can be called phenomenal. All right, the homebody, Mars in Cancer. Cancer is a super sexy sign. Now, who do we have examples of this? Audrey Hepburn, Tom Jones, Rudolph Valentino. All right, we also have examples who manage to be very sexy without being all that good looking, like Pablo Picasso and H.G. Wells. Overall, though, what stands out about this group is the number of examples who displayed contradictory and utterly irrational thinking when it came to their sex lives. You guys ready? Sid Vicious. He apparently felt The only way to express his devotion to the love of his life was to stab her to death. Guys, ready for this? George Sanders and Arthur Schopenhauer denigrated women and love in public while being completely enthralled in private. William Randolph Hearst considered himself an upstanding family man while openly entertaining the cream of vintage Hollywood alongside his mistresses. And Ingrid Bergman deserted both her husband and her child in order to pursue her infatuation with an Italian filmmaker. And one more, a couple more. And perhaps the saddest examples of these irrational behaviors are people who chose to cling to an unloving and abusive partner. Remember, Mars in Cancer. Cancer is super clingy. So once again, the saddest examples of this irrational behavior are people who choose to cling to unloving and abusive partners. Like Halle Berry did this, and of course, we all know Nicole Brown Simpson did this. So that's the action, guys. There's natal Mars. Hey! Who's a pretty little crab? Who's a cute little crab? Ooh, cute, cute. Whatever. Got my crab antlers on back there. Anyways, that's the action, guys. That's Mars in Cancer. I hope you guys learned a little bit today. There's some obvious stereotypes about Cancer out there. There's some obvious action about Mars in there. Cancer wants to nurture. They want to take care of you. Mars wants to shake things up a bit. They're not, they don't really go that well together. I'll show you one more thing here in the chart. This energy here is the ruler of Mars. And they're different. Once again, let's get back to what I was talking about earlier. Mars rules two parts of the chart. This is Mars in fire, and over Scorpio is Mars in water. Alright. This is hot water. This is fire, hot fire. Or Scorpio is also extremely cold as well. When you look at the Pluto side, Pluto's ice. But so Cancer energy squares Aries energy. There's a lot of tension. So if you have Mars expressing itself in a very traditional Aries kind of way, you're going to have a lot of problems with Mars in Cancer. So if Mars expresses itself in an Aries kind of way, it's going to cause problems with Mars being in Cancer. If Mars expresses itself in its Scorpion guise, so to speak, with its Scorpio persona, then it's going to be in beautiful harmony with Cancer. So I know everybody's like, oh, it's nice the word. So on one hand, if it's in its watery form, Mars hanging out in the water in Scorpio is extremely nurturing. It's extremely loyal. It's extremely faithful. It likes to be mothered. It likes to take care of everyone. It likes to have tete-a-tetes. It likes to keep the family private, everything under control. It's very aggressive, love, and nurturing. Scorpio is a ridiculously over-the-top sexual sign. Mars in Scorpio is way over the top in sexuality. And when it puts it in, when that energy is applied to Cancer, it's a sexual union that won't break because you have a strong bond here. You have an emotional and intuitive bond, which is what both of that energy is looking for. If it's in Aries, which is constantly testing the waters and constantly looking for a new challenge, well, it upsets the whole purpose of what Cancer is going after, which is stability. The bottom of the zodiac is stability. This is it right here. If this is unstable, your entire chart is going to collapse. Your entire world is going to collapse. And just think about it. If you don't have a good home life, if your home and family life is not solid, then the rest of your chart is going to fall down. That's why it's the foundation of the chart. So that's the action. So once again, it's all how this Mars energy plays out in Cancer. Once again, if it's Aries side, if it's pushy and competitive, Cancer doesn't like that. You don't want to push the crab. Crabs don't like to be pushed. Give them time to do their thing. They'll get back. They got that sideways thing going on. They'll go. They'll come back. They'll get around to it. It's all cool. If you read a book. So once again, Mars belongs in two parts of the chart, Aries and in Scorpio. So when it rears if it shows its Aries side in Cancer is not going to be a good scene. If it shows its Scorpio side in Cancer, then there you go. There's a plus and a minus. There are pros and cons to all of it, and there are different ways of expressing the energy. Some ways of expressing it are going to be good. Some ways are going to leave room for improvement. And that's the action, guys. I hope everybody learned a little bit about Mars in Cancer. I hope everybody had fun here on the sunny side. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And that's the action. And that's the action. We just cruised into it. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, just check out one of the live streams and just let me know what's up. Please share the video. Please give the video a thumbs up. Please support the channel by visiting the astroside.com. Please have a look at, you know, if you want a reading, check me out. Or support the channel via PayPal. It's all in the description box below. And that's the action. You know, remember, it's always a beautiful day to be beautiful, and it's together that makes it a beautiful day. And I'll say one more thing. There's always love and money in your chart every single day. It's not like Venus disappears from the sky. Unless there's an eclipse. Then you go, hey, what happened, man? But there's love and money in your chart every single day. You just got to know where to look for it. And that's my job. I'm the astrologer. I'm Sonny. And that's the action. From TheSunnySide.net, I'm Sonny, wishing everyone the absolute best of a super beautiful day. And I'll see you guys soon.